welcome back to Hot Route Takes. This is the NFL Week 9 recap show. A lot of good football and a lot of good vibes, especially if you're one who happens to be a fan of the Baltimore Ravens and has CJ Stroud in fantasy. Really high vibes for me. So I'm feeling great. I'm ready to get right into a Week 9 of NFL football. And as always, guys, we'll start with recaps of the Thursday night game. Kind of a snooze fest, but man, the Steelers keep finding a way to win. 20-16 win on prime time at home, guys. And the really interesting stat, I've sent it to y'all already, but I have to say this once again. At 5-3, the Steelers are just the 34th team since 1933, when rushing and receiving stats first started being tracked, to be outgained in each of their first 8 games. They're the only one ever with a winning record. LeBron said it himself. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NBA right now. They have a winning record, but they're getting outplayed every night. How do they keep getting away with it? Any notes from this game, the Thursday night game, guys?
Not a whole lot here, but, Will Levis did have a back-to-earth performance, I would say, although I think he still played pretty well. And then George Pickens had 2 catches for -1 yards. So not involved in this game. But Deontay Johnson, a welcome addition back to the offense. He played pretty well, but like to your point, Chase, it's crazy. Week in and week out, they find ways to win games with very minimal offensive production.
Yep, I mean, I truly feel like Jesse from Breaking Bad. Like, they can't keep getting away with this. They do it every week. They are 5-3 somehow. They are 5-3. So props to them. I know. I mean, obviously my most hated team, but at a certain point, you just have to give respect where respect is due. So, well-coached team. They keep doing what they do. Moving on to Sunday, guys. The marquee matchup we hyped up all in the preview pod was the Germany game. The Miami Dolphins taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. A battle of 6-2 teams. KC jumped out to a 21-0 halftime lead. And Brian texted us at halftime, said, "We will come back." And dang it, they almost did. It came down to the wire, but ended up being a one-score game with Miami taking the loss. Brian, touch on everything you saw in this game.
Well, this one was a heartbreaker, I would say. I really felt like we beat ourselves in this game. The opportunity was there for the taking. We just continued just penalties, drop passes. Tua dropped a snap, miscommunication with receivers. And then the operation in general was funky. They were getting up to the line late, trying to do motions and everything like that. You don't have the opportunity to really look at the defense like you would want to. And they were just continuously getting to the line late, and that's just kind of been a theme in away atmospheres and big games and big environments where the crowd noise can really get to you and mess up communication. That's really been stressing them, getting in and out the huddle and getting the play in and everything, which really messes up the timing, and that really hurts offense. So just too inconsistent, I would say, on offense, but really the defensive side of football is what I want to talk about from a Miami perspective. I think they played really inspired football, limited Mahomes to, I believe, 60 yards passing in the second half, and no points, allowed us to really crawl back into the game, even though our offense was sputtering quite a bit. I will say, if you want to point fingers in this game, you're going to point to Tua, Tyreek, and McDaniel. All of them deserve a fair share of blame. I actually thought Tua played pretty well up until that last drive there where he just completely – that was pretty rough to watch. I mean, there's no denying that. There was a miscommunication with Cedric Wilson down the field where maybe he was supposed to run a comeback, but he was wide open for a go anyway, and then just dropped the snap, man. You can't have it in that situation. So credit to the Chiefs. I do think that Miami can play with any football team. I'll still stand by that. This does not change my opinion on that. And I still think we're one of the top 5 teams in the NFL.
Yeah, they're Miami's really good. They've shown that this year, but they're still missing that marquee win. That's going to be a narrative until it comes. So a lot to take from that game, but the fact that they didn't mail it in on a 21-0 halftime deficit, credit you guys for making that a football game, and the defense played really well one day. Moving on to the 1 o'clock slate of games, we have the Green Bay Packers at home taking a 20-3 win against the Matthew Stafford-less Rams. Once that news came out, I quickly changed my pick to Green Bay. Not a great performance, but Christian, you got anything quick on this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Rams without Matthew Stafford. Should have changed my pick when I seen it, but just didn't do it just because I don't still believe in Jordan Love. I understand Brian's going to say,
He
well, look
played.
at the 20 for 26. It's the Rams, man. I said their offense, their defense is not good other than Aaron Donald. I will stand by that still. But I think for the
It's not a
Packers,
bad game, man. Come
not a bad
on.
game. Okay, yeah, but what he's been doing the last 4 weeks. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. I think this is a good game. One for Aaron Jones. I'll say that about Green Bay. They got him involved. Been hurt a lot this year. And then Luke Musgrave had 3 catches, but one big one for a touchdown. I think getting him more involved in this offense be something moving forward. But I think just on the round side, it's just no Matthew Stafford. You can't really judge this team without him, I think. Then on the Green Bay side, it's just, to me, can you keep this up? And then Christian Watson went out this game. I mean, he's supposed to be your centerpiece of this offense and be a bright star moving forward. And just, I mean, hasn't been on the field. I mean, all year, really. So, I mean, you can say that maybe can blame for a little bit of what we've seen out of Jordan Love. But I just think moving forward, I think this whole team just health wise, Aaron Jones now, you have what I just said, Christian Watson again. So I just think they getting this team healthy and seeing what they actually have is something that Green Bay probably wants to do moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a team that's healthy and clicking right now. That's my Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry. I'm feeling good, guys. I mean, it was a copy paste of the Detroit Lions home game just a few weeks ago. 37-3 beatdown of the Seattle Seahawks. Lamar moves to, I believe, 18-1 against NFC teams. And just going to reel off some team stats here, guys. Completely dominant day. Outgained the Seahawks 515 to 151. Outgained them through the air over 100 yards almost. Outgained them rushing 298 yards compared to 28 yards. Justin Madubuike had a sack in his sixth straight game. Geno Stone, the NFL interception leader, got a pick in his fourth straight game. Buy your Keaton Mitchell stock now. He was a guy that was hyped up in the preseason. Started the year on IR, but he looks like he could be taking RB2 from Justice Hill. He had a lot of juice today after the Ravens offense honestly was sputtering through the first quarter. He come in on the drive in the second, sparked some big runs. Looks like he may be taking that big home run hitter running back role, which that's how you rack up 298 yards. And then the talk on the preview pod was a lot of which receiver of Bateman, OBJ, Isaiah Likely, which one of those guys is going to be the guy to step up. The guys that, Christian just like Adam Thielen's so much better than. That's neither here or there, Christian. I love you. I love you regardless.
Bro.
But
Hey,
my
that was
guy,
both of us.
my guy OBJ did go for 5 catches, 56 yards. His first touchdown since the Super Bowl with the Rams. That's honestly so
Ooh.
good to see, man.
I'm so proud.
Hey, you
Whooping the
should be,
Seattle
man.
Seahawks and putting up 56 yards. I'm loving it, Odell.
Hey, how good is Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon? Yeah, y'all think they're pretty good. I would think they're pretty
I'm pretty good too till I'm getting blown out 21-3. I think I'd quit playing defense too. That's just, I'm just saying,
good.
if I'm out there over and over and over, I'm gonna get a little tired. And I mean,
Hey,
Odell did score in the fourth quarter. I'm gonna say
keep
without the starters probably out there, but I'm gonna
hey,
let you have your moment, Chase.
hey, keep moving the goalpost, brother. I'm gonna
That's
love
what
you.
I
I'm
hear.
gonna love you. Isaiah Likely though, 4 catches, 42 yards. Bateman, 3 catches, 28. And Mark Andrews is still the guy. He was the leading receiver, 9 catches, 80 yards. So, I mean, I'll get to my Ravens take later in this pod, but it's a week-to-week league. But in 2 of the last 3 against 2 of the better NFC teams, not the best, but Seattle and Detroit are up there. They're playoff NFC teams. They've blown them out at home. So I'm just enjoying watching Ravens football right now. And a 7-2 start puts you up there in the upper echelon of AFC teams. So that's really fun to see. We'll move it on, guys. The next one was honestly one of the game of the days, surprisingly. Minnesota Vikings taking the road win against the Atlanta Falcons, a battle of 4-4 teams. Minnesota moves to 5-4, 31-28 late comeback win behind newly acquired Josh Dobbs.
Put some
Interesting.
respect on his
Yeah,
name, Brian. Quit shaking that head.
Preach it, Christian. You were invested. You saw
Uh,
that game-winning drive. What'd you see from Minnesota without Kirk Cousins, without Justin Jefferson? What did they do to get this road win?
man,
They got them a franchise
Joshua
quarterback.
Dobbs. Yeah, they got him a franchise quarterback named Joshua Dobbs that took over, led the team in rushing.
Come
Didn't know the
on.
offensive playbook. Only been on the team since Tuesday. And Karen got the dub on this team that I hate to say it, but Brian, my Atlanta Falcons. I mean, what's going on, Brian? You love this team so much, and Joshua Dobbs, 20 for 30, not knowing the playbook, 158. I mean, got TJ Hawkinson involved in the game that hadn't been happening consistently all year. Jordan Addison still had a big day. I mean,
I would
Wow.
blame
man,
Arthur Smith.
Arthur
what?
Smith.
Oh my
Arthur
god,
Smith actually might be a terrorist. I'm not
But
even
all
bro!
I'm gonna say is my big takeaway from this is I think they wasted a pick on BJ Robinson. You maybe say it's a hot take, but I mean, why are we handing the ball off to another running back and letting them get more attempts than the guy you spent a first round pick on
Algier got
and
more
top 10?
attempts in this game, bro.
It's
Like,
one
what are
of
we
the
doing?
honestly one of the most puzzling things that's been the storyline of the first half of the NFL football season. The choice to use that pick on Bijan and then the reluctance to use him in the field. I can't say I'm surprised after the whole Kyle Pitts situation. So honestly,
That's what I'm saying.
it
Mm.
the writing was on the wall, and I'm rooting for Atlanta just to do worse because I need Arthur Smith gone. They have talent on that roster, and I think coaching is holding them back severely.
Man,
So that could be something we talk about in the coming weeks.
man,
Moving on, guys, we had the 1-8 now Arizona Cardinals without Josh Dobbs. That offense going against this Cleveland Browns defense, as we predicted, rough day, 27-0 beatdown of the Cardinals. To me, exactly how I expected this game to play out, but still needing a little more. This was Deshaun Watson's first game back, still needing a little more from him to show Cleveland can jump into this next tier with the Buffaloes, the Cincinnatis of good, really good AFC teams, but they just need more from Deshaun Watson. And his health has to be there. Obviously, this is his first game back. We got to watch that in the coming weeks and see how serious Cleveland can become in this AFC. Moving along, guys, we've got an AFC East team I'm going to let Brian touch on. The New England Patriots dropped one at home to the Washington Commanders. Very tight game for a lot of it. Ended up going 20-17 in favor of Washington. Brian, a 2-7 start for the Pats. They look kind of dead in the water. What'd you see in this game?
They kept it close and they've been competitive in a lot of losses that they had this year, but Sam Howell, just continuing to show up and play good football. I mean, he's had a couple weeks where he's just looked really solid. He still got sacked 3 times, but I think that's just going to be something you live with when you have Sam Howell. He's aggressive. He's going to push the ball down the field, and you love to see it. You got a bunch of receivers involved today. Jahan Dotson's production has increased quite a bit as of late, and a lot of that has to do with this passing game getting rolling with Sam Howell. The running game was a nice compliment today. It wasn't really a large factor in the game, but New England just continuing to not really have a whole lot of firepower in offense, just not really able to score a whole lot of points. They're continuing to keep things close because they're able to scheme things up and play good defense, but just not enough, man. It's not enough.
Yep. Next up, guys, we have the 5-4 NFC South leading New Orleans Saints taking a 24-17 home win against the Chicago Bears. Uh, I think the NFC South is pretty much proving to be the weakest division in football. None of these offenses spark great inspiration with you. Maybe Tampa Bay, they had a good outing today. But I think New Orleans defense is going to be the deciding factor in them capturing this division title. And that's really what led them to this game. They picked off Bears quarterback Tyson Bagent 3 times. And the Saints offense, they just kind of did things to not hurt themselves. Kamara really never got going on the ground. It was Taysom Hill that was the leading rusher. In the end, enough for a one-score win against the Bears team. You got to beat if you want to have dreams of winning this division. So kudos to them to getting to above 500 on the year. Moving along, we honestly, game of the day. Credit to you, Brian, for calling the CJ Stroud love preseason. My eyes have
I
seen
did
all
not
they.
call it like this.
I know. Well, I've seen all I need to see. I'm a believer. I believe in CJ Stroud's supremacy. Good God, this guy is really, really good.
good.
This is a really good quarterback draft class. I'm really bummed Anthony Richardson got hurt because he looked great. Bryce Young has no help, and it is what it is in that situation. But C.J. Stroud, Rookie of the Year. He's going to be Rookie of the Year. 39-37, thrilling win. Also, an NFL scoreagami. I want to start doing that when I notice those first unique score ever in an NFL game. I
Yeah.
love when that thing happens. So I'm going to try to mention that when I see it on the pod more often. 39-17, late game-winning touchdown to Tank Dell. Christian, you were invested. You saw this game through and through. What did you see from C.J. Stroud and the Texans to dethrone your guy Baker, who had a really good day?
Yeah, I'm gonna just start with, I guess, neither defense. They did have a couple stops, but more than likely they didn't really show up on both sides. I mean, I'm gonna say C.J. Stroud. I will give him credit. I mean, he spread the love. I mean, he had 3 guys with over 100 yards. Nico Collins got his 3 catches for a touchdown. He had 4 guys with a touchdown, one with multiple, and Tank Dell. Tank Dell, since the concussion injury, hasn't been that involved when he came back last week, and this week, I mean, he erupted. So I just think moving forward, I mean, I don't think they really have a number one guy. It's just C.J. Stroud's willing and dealing and really giving it to the best guy who's open. So my big thing with Houston, I mean, granted, it was a shootout, so I would like to see some type of running game because that just hasn't been a thing all year. So you're putting a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud. But, I mean, if he's going to play like this, I guess the pressure ain't too high on him. And then just the killer in this game to me was, Baker did go down the field in the fourth quarter, scored, game-winning drive supposedly, and then just the defense just let him march down the field on the Houston side, and just Tank Dell was pretty much wide open in the end zone. So I will say I did like how they did let White get 20 carries on the Tampa Bay side, but just Houston can't give them enough praise and love on what they all did. And just, I mean, a lot of weapons on this young team, and their quarterback is still on this rookie deal. So Houston might be building something, so you might want to watch out.
Yeah, great game to watch, game of the day. And like I said, I had C.J. Stroud in fantasy. I never saw a 470-yard, 5-touchdown day coming. I don't care who you're playing. Just phenomenal stuff from him. Truly made me a believer in everything he's put on tape this year in first half of the football season. Really exciting to watch Texans football right now. So moving along, next AFC South team we got is the 4-5 Indianapolis Colts, beating the Carolina Panthers 27-13 final. I don't have a lot of game notes on this. Christian's guy, Kenny Moore, got 2 pick sixes in this game. But other than that, not a lot of notes from me unless you guys have something.
Nah, I mean, they had Adam Thielen in the slot, and Moore took over, and that's really, I mean, the only guy that Bryce Young has. So, I mean, if you got that guy sticking them in 2 interceptions for a touchdown, I think that's not going to be a good day for the Panthers.
39 attempts for 170 yards, 3 picks, sacked 4 times. Rough outing for Bryce Young.
Yeah. And honestly, as we get to this next one, this was the game I thought was going to be the worst watch of the day. And it kind of lived up to it because it was such a blowout. The Raiders at home, 30-6. The New York Giants clearly have no faith in their third-string quarterback, which I can't blame them. And the crushing news from this is early reports are that they fear Daniel Jones, torn ACL, out for the remainder of the year. Pretty much, we kind of knew it heading this game. This season's already lost for the Giants. Vegas got their first win under interim coach. Maybe they can spring something here, but I still don't see a lot from either of these teams going forward. Christian, Raiders in your division, any hope for them to make any type of push for a second place finish in that division under the new interim coach, or are you just kind of chalking this up one to the Giants being the opponent?
One, I mean, Aiden O'Connell, I will say, does look better than Jimmy G does in this offense. I mean, hate to say it, but I mean, it's just honesty. I think, you do want to see Devontae Adams more, but just, to get to your point real quick, just on this win, I mean, you're playing, a high school team in the Giants, maybe you can say, with the quarterback position right now. So, I mean, they need to do something to, I think, moving forward. You can't stick with Tommy DeVio because it just looks god awful. I mean, he was, I think, 1 for 4, 2 interceptions or something like that right when he came out. I mean, so I just think moving forward, I mean, they really don't have no faith in him passing the ball, so they're going to have to do something. I'm not sure on what Tyrod Taylor's status is, but if it ain't him, they need to start making some phone calls in free agency. It's got to be better than this.
Cam Newton, ring, anybody?
Nah, Cam Newton's going to a contender. This ain't no contender. A A
Well, he said
contender.
he's came out and said he won't play for league minimum, and like, why are the Giants gonna pay anyone other than league minimum when they know they're
I
going
mean,
nowhere? They might as well just take
it's
it. They might as well just take it, and I don't know. I guess try to keep Saquon healthy if you want him around long term. That would be my goal this season if I'm them, and develop your
it ain't their goal.
yeah, well
40 carries a
develop
game on deck for
Uh,
Saquon Barkley.
yeah.
best player by a mile on the team. It ain't. God.
Well, they better focus on developing their higher drafted defensive players recently, and Thibodeau and Deontay Banks. If they can make those guys actual cornerstone pieces, maybe they can turn some stuff around next year. But I mean, as long as Daniel Jones looks like he could miss time next year with this injury, even if he was healthy, I truly don't have a lot of faith when you get to the other teams in this NFC East, and that's who we got next, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles taking a win yet again against the Dallas Cowboys. 28-23 game, a thrilling one, 8-1 now for the Eagles. Dallas, we kind of touched on it with Miami. They're still looking for that marquee win. They yet to get one. They look really good in their blowout wins of lesser teams, the teams they're supposed to beat. They beat the Chargers, who we all think is a good team on Monday Night Football on the road. But the Philadelphia Eagles just seem to be their kryptonite. Cowboys gave them a good game today, but still wasn't enough. I'll let either of you guys take it and give us what you think was the deciding factor in Philly pulling out another game.
I didn't watch this one, but I did keep an eye on it from a little bit, and it looks to me that Dak Prescott played a good game.
Yeah.
He had 374 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, uh, was clean, no interceptions. He did have a fumble, but no interceptions, and he did get sacked 5 times. So this Eagles defensive line, they hadn't had maybe the best numbers to start the year, but we all know they're talented. We all know they're going to wreak havoc, and we all know that you have to game plan around it because they're that kind of talent. But just the Eagles continuing to play all around football and finding ways to win. And this game was close throughout. I feel like every Eagles game I watch is close throughout, but yeah, Eagles continuing to find a way to win, and Dak Prescott didn't crap his pants in this game.
He did when he needed that money drive. Just saying, man. Just saying. But
Yeah,
a big takeaway for me, just real quick, is Tony Pollard. I mean, this guy was supposed to be what for this team, and just I hate to say it, but I think with Kellen Moore leaving this team, it kind of ruined their whole what was going on with the running and in the passing game with the running back. Because Tony Pollard, I'll be the first to say it was supposed to be. I mean, at least for a fantasy point, a guy, and
Yeah.
just I mean, he hasn't been involved in the passing game. I mean, he had 12 attempts today, 51 carries, and 4.2 attempt. I mean, I don't know why they went away from him. I mean, he was getting. I mean, 4.2 on an Eagles D line that, I mean, we all praise.
Mm-hmm.
I would think anybody else would be handing the ball to that back. But I will say, I mean, CD Lamb, dude, the Eagles had one job. And I mean, CD Lamb munched. I mean, what was it, 11 for 191? I mean,
Ever since
one job.
ever since they came out and said they weren't getting CD the ball enough, he's had big games and established himself as the guy of that offense. And that's when they're clicking, is when Dak's finding him over the middle of the field for those chunk plays. Like you said, they just kind of need to finish some drives better, be better in the red zone. Tony Pollard not getting in the end zone these last few weeks is killing that, and the kicking department is always is what it is with Dallas. They need to fix these type of things if they want that marquee win against these really good teams in the NFC, like your San Fran's and Philadelphia. But overall, I still like Dallas. I still like the roster. I think they're a playoff team, and they're pretty much proven that through this first half of the football season. So that's it. We got a couple Sunday night game and a Monday night game. We will recap on the preview show. As for our NFL takes and our team takes, I think we got some juicy ones lined up for you guys. We'll start with the team side of things. Obviously, my Ravens. A lot of good things to pick from today. I'm trying to steer clear from anything like big picture, jumping the gun, because this is a week-to-week league. As good as we look this week, it can turn around, flip the script next week. With that said, though, I just want to talk full roster construction. I'm going to put it on paper in words that I believe fully healthy, the Ravens have a top 3 roster. I want to hear if you guys, that's pushing it. I think top 6, 7 is certified. Like the names they have when healthy on this roster, that's certified. You get to that 3 range. There's some really good rosters that are pushing them right there with it. You got KC, you got Miami, you got Philadelphia, of course, San Francisco. Like any of those teams overall in defense and offense, you stack the names up against each other, you have an argument. Obviously, I love my guys. I love the way we're playing recently. And it's really the defense for me. I think it's a top 2 unit with San Francisco, and offense's potential. It may not be the offense that Philly or KC or Miami has, but when you combine both sides of the ball, that's where I land at. I think they're in that top 3 as of right now. Obviously, injuries can always deplete that, so that's fingers crossed in that department. But I'd love to hear you guys' takes if you have them there. If not, where at? I obviously respect each of you guys' opinions, so I'd love to hear what you're feeling with my team right now.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I'm with you, Chase. I think I don't know if it's top 3, but I'm top 5 for sure. The teams that come to mind is Philly, San Fran. I do think Miami. But maybe that's biased. I don't know. I really think it's close between our 2 teams all together.
Myself, yeah.
I'm trying to not be biased. I'm trying to think objectively. And if we're comparing our 2 rosters, I think offensive line, I think it's a draw. Really, I think it's a draw. I think you got some good players. Tyler Linderbaum, Ronnie Staley, that's really good. But Connor Williams and Teron Armstead are really good as well. Yeah. Maybe from a depth perspective, you guys are a little bit better on the offensive line. So I'll just mark that as a draw. Tight ends, I think you guys are easily better. Running backs, I think when we have HN, we're better. Because we got Mostert and Wilson. You guys do have Gus Edwards, but JK can't stay on the field.
Hey, so. don't forget Keontae Mitchell season. Okay, man. I told you today.
We'll see.
Seriously,
we'll see.
I'm like, he was so hyped preseason, but he showed a lot of juice today, and like he earned carries next week, so that could be something to watch these coming weeks with my team. Because when the Ravens game, ground game is this dominant, like they've been this in the years past, but you add that to where the passing unit is this year, where Lamar is so much better against the blitz. He is so much more efficient in getting the ball out on schedule. That's the mouthwatering stuff that Ravens fans have been dreaming of, and Todd Monken's making it come to life. So that's why my praise is so high, although I know some really good rosters out there. So
yeah, for sure.
Go ahead,
man. Top 5.
Nah, man, I wouldn't say top 5. I mean, I looked through it. That's why I let Brian go first. But I mean, I'll just name a couple that, Eagles. I think Dallas is still a better team than y'all are. I think maybe it's how the hype is. No, dude, I mean, what wide receiver on the Ravens is going to have a day like CD Lamb?
Okay, is Dak better than Lamar?
What corners they have? They have better corners, I think. I understand Baltimore have a young corner playing great, but just altogether. As a defensive unit,
playing better as a unit.
Yeah,
Baltimore
actually has the highest rated coverage grade.
Yeah, but I will say this: Baltimore have better linebackers than Dallas, but Dallas has a way better pass rush.
Well, we lead the league in sacks.
Well, I hear you, but anyway, bro. The 49ers, I like the 49ers more than y'all. The Detroit Lions, I like more than y'all. On the other side,
you better stop right now.
What?
Stop that game.
They just got
okay, but listen, I could say KC got stumped by Denver, and then they came in there and won against y'all today. You know what I'm saying? It's a week to week league, man. I think Miami has a better roster. Buffalo, I think, is a better team. I don't know about a better roster. I won't go that far. I think y'all a pretty even match with Buffalo roster wise. The Chiefs, I think they have a better roster.
No, they don't.
Cincinnati has a better roster. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have a better roster.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Chase. I'm not on board with that. Not at all.
Cleveland, they actually had number 2 wide receiver, man. I hate to say it, man. I would really consider because their defense, is playing that good.
Baltimore's the leader of the division right now.
I hear you. But Cincinnati's roster, bro. We talking about roster. You get their roster. Healthy Joe Burrow, I think that's a better roster.
What don't you like about the roster though? Because like the defense is there for me. I can see
Okay, so one thing I don't like is, I mean, you don't have a number 2 at all. I understand Odell, 52 yards today,
Zay
but all them
Flowers.
teams I named,
that's what I'm saying. I
all the
think Mark
teams I
Andrews.
named had a wide receiver 2. I understand your tight ends, a wide receiver 1, but I'm talking about legit wide receiver 2. Every team I just named has a guy that could be a number 2.
Kansas
Detroit.
City. They got a number 2.
Yeah, like
But they
Kansas
got a
City's
number
dumb. I
2.
was joking. That was sarcasm.
They got a number 2.
yeah, like
Nah, they got a number 2.
Who?
He's
Rasheed
out there. He
Rice?
just hadn't showed up yet.
Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice doing better than Odell and Bateman is this season.
But they got a number 2. And Zay Flowers, I would say.
That's what I'm saying. Like Mark Andrews is our guy, and Zay
I hear
Flowers,
you,
like
man.
he routed up Witherspoon today, and that was his one catch. Like that's, but other than receiver, let's get off receiver, Christian. The defense to me is really solid. So, do you see any roster holes on defense or anywhere else on offense, or is it Lamar holding your opinion back of them more? Because like you listed a lot of teams, Detroit, Dallas, all teams. I think this is a quarterback league. All teams, I think Lamar is a better quarterback than. He's better than Dak. He's better than Jared Goff. Like that's where I'm at, and the defense just elevates it because it's so good to me. But I'd love to hear your take.
Just when y'all play elite defense, the offense just doesn't move the chain for me.
But that's
when y'all played the Colts. Their defense is not elite, but that's a good defense. I think everybody will agree the Colts have a good defense. Then I will say y'all made the Lions look bad, but I mean, and then the Cleveland too, but Cleveland also didn't have a starting quarterback. And then Cincinnati was an injured Joe Burrow. So I'd like to see the Cincinnati game again this year. I think that'd be something I'd like to see. And then, of course, I mean, y'all play the 49ers, y'all play Jacksonville, y'all play Dolphins, Steelers again. So, I mean, I think by the end of the season, bro, y'all might can win me over, but I just can't.
Bro, y'all got a gauntlet. Oh,
yeah,
my.
Yeah, they do. A gauntlet, son.
Like, don't even, mince my words. Like, 7-2 is vital because of who we have left. Like, we've already
it is rough. Like,
yeah.
Browns,
it's going to come down
Bengals,
to those
Chargers.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the divisional
Rams if Matthew Stafford's healthy, bro.
Yeah, it's
I understand how bad they look today, but Jacksonville, 49ers, Dolphins, Steelers.
Dolphins. Oh,
yeah.
And honestly, guys, I can't wait for the pods for those episodes because those are I think those are the upper of the NFL landscape. And I believe in the Ravens. I really do. I've tried to hone it back and keep bias out of it, but just roster construction, that's where I'm seeing, especially on the defense. I can't harp enough how much the defense does it for me. Justin Madubuike is in for a huge payday. Geno Stone leads the league in interceptions, and he's our safety 3. He's only playing because Marcus Williams is hurt, although he'll obviously have to keep playing once he comes back. Jadeveon Clowney. We just picked Kyle Van Noy up off the street, and he had 2 sacks today, including a strip sack. So, I could go on and on about the defense. I'm trying to quit from sounding like I'm gushing, but I just really believe in that talent and Mike McDonald as a defensive mind scheming things up for them. That's why I'm so high on us right now. Obviously, you win a football game 37-3 in this league against another good team. You'll feel good about where your team stands. So that's my Ravens take for the week. Brian, Christian, if either of y'all want to go with your Dolphins or Chargers, we'll get into that.
Yeah, I was just going to do the Dolphins, and it's just like a little schedule, rest of the way preview thing. So next week we're on our bye, and then we come out of our bye, and we got the Raiders, Jets, Commanders, Titans, Jets.
Jesus.
At 5. Yeah. Compare that to what you just said. We had what people thought was going to be a tough schedule to start the year with the Bills, Patriots, Chargers, Eagles, Chiefs, those teams are in there. But then we close with 3 tough games. Cowboys, Ravens, Bills.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we could really make a run here at the end of the year. I think we can rattle off 5 quick against the teams I mentioned, the Raiders, Jets, twice, the Commanders, and then the Titans, and that would rack us up right there alone to 11 wins. So I think At this point, if you're a Miami fan, you're expecting the playoffs. But if we can win these final three, we can really push for the 1 seed, is what I'm looking at. But there, no way you rattle off 9 to end the season. But Cowboys, Ravens, Bills to close the year. Which one of these 3 games do you think Miami can win and have a marquee win?
There you go. I figured that's the direction you were going. Obviously, I'm not going to say my Ravens, but I think that's the most mouth-watering matchup because the defense I just praised for 5 minutes is facing one of the top units. I think the top offensive unit in the league. So that's going to be must-see TV. That said, I just truly believe we are a better team than Dallas, both sides of the ball to me, and that seems like the marquee win for you guys. Right now, Brian, I truly see 11, 12 wins in the pocket, AFC East in the pocket, unless Bills rattle off, they win tonight and rattle off a good year and beat y'all the second time around. That's kind of the only way I see Buffalo taking this division. Miami, I wouldn't even be so pressed about trying to win one of those final 3 games and get a marquee win, man, because y'all take care of y'all's business and get in the playoffs. That's when the best are going to be playing the best. That's the money's made, and I think he'll have a good enough roster to beat any team in the AFC. So if I'm picking one, though, give me Dallas. I think they're the weakest of those rosters, yeah.
Nice. Oh, quick note. First time we've been fully healthy all season. We'll be coming out of our bye.
Love to see that, actually.
Yep.
Love to see that.
All right, man. I'm not going to be like Chase, man. I'm going to just keep it, short and sweet and honest, man, like the rest of the world, Brian. I got a couple stats in front of me, man. I was going to go with a take, later, but I got another take, but I'll go ahead and talk about your Dolphins real quick. So, versus, the Giants, New England, the Chargers, Denver, the Panthers, all those teams under 500, 6-0, points per game, 39.0, opponents points per game, 20.8. Then the games you have lost, KC, Buffalo, Eagles, 0-3, 17 points per game, opponents per game, 33.3. So, then I'll go ahead and say this one I have in the pocket. The Miami Dolphins have not defeated a team 500 or better in 405 days. So, in reality, I don't think you win any of those 3 games. But, if it is one, it's probably going to be Dallas just because Dak Prescott chokes in big games. He can't do it. So, I just, Miami, to me, y'all are a good team. But I think when it comes to playoff football, I think y'all see that there is better teams than y'all out there.
Christian, do you think any team is good?
I do, but just Miami, bro. Miami, what I learned today, bro, I don't think Brian maybe seen it, but I just think when Tyreek Hill isn't clicking and Waddle or something happens, his offense just does not look the same. And I understand that's your 2 big players, but you got to have answers for if something like that happened. It just didn't look good out there after that happened. I understand it did take a while for the offense to get going. So, you did get an offense going maybe in the second quarter instead of after half. Total different game, but I'm just saying what I seen today, it just seemed like when one of those guys aren't going or an injury happens, it's a whole different team.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Christian. You got to be able to win a game like a pitcher. You don't have your best stuff. You don't have your fastball, your wipeout slider, whatever. Got to be able to win with your other stuff. And Miami's trying to find a way to do that when Tyreek Hill doesn't have his best day, when Tua doesn't have his best day, and those things. That will spring the marquee win they're looking for. So I see where you're coming from there, Christian.
I will say we lost by a touchdown. Oh, it was a 1-score game in the 4th quarter against both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. If there's anyone saying we can't play with the big team, I don't know what you're looking at because it's very competitive games I'm watching.
They
Y'all
just
can play
haven't.
with it, just can't win.
That's
We're not talking about the Chargers, man.
I'm just my number 2's down, man. Hell, then
sick.
after that, I still believe we can turn it around. So hell, if we get to the playoffs, Brian, watch out. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch out.
The rematch of Week 1. Oh my God!
Watch out.
It's probably because Christian, your Chargers take, buddy. Go ahead.
Man, I ain't got a Chargers take. I got a take on somebody else because my team hadn't played. I kind of been beating the drum on everything I can think of, but I'm gonna go this route since Brian for some reason hates this guy, and it's Joshua Dobbs. So without him today, the The Arizona Cardinals had 0 points, 48 plays, 58 yards, 1.2 yards per play, 7 first down, 1 for 12 on third down. And then today, Josh Dobbs, 2 touchdowns, 0 interception, passer rating 101.8. The Cardinals' passer rating was a 20.8. Rushing yards just by Josh Dobbs was 66. Cardinals was 41. And Josh Dobbs had a rushing touchdown, and Arizona did not. So I just think my take is I think Joshua Dobbs is underrated. There's a lot of teams I can look through and wonder why they didn't trade for Joshua Dobbs. We have the Raiders, the Giants. You keep looking, but those are just the first two that popped in my head immediately. I think Joshua Dobbs, Brian's not going to agree with this, I know for a fact, but it's better than Jordan Love right now to me.
Woo, that's a take. That's a take, Christian. And Christian,
Dude,
you
Matt
got
Jones, Joshua Dobbs. I'm taking
hey,
Joshua Dobbs.
hey.
You start naming some of these quarterbacks, bro. I'm taking Joshua Dobbs over a good many. Taylor Heineke and what they have in Atlanta or Joshua Dobbs?
The way he's playing this year, Joshua Dobbs. Hey, I'm a believer, and honestly, Christian, that whole statement there, you had Ellie shaking her head. She's made me a Joshua Dobbs fan because he's actually a close family friend of theirs. He played he went to the same high school as her cousin who plays baseball for the minor league in the A's. So she said she's met Joshua Dobbs. She loves him. Says he's a great guy and made me root for him in turn. And seeing his play this year, his story, the way he's overcome, how honestly he did look really bad for Tennessee last year. That's where our assessments come from. But he has played lights out for Arizona, and he came in today and he just lit up the Falcons. The Falcons are 100% supposed to win that game at home and take command of this NFC South division. And Joshua Dobbs, no Justin Jefferson, no problem. He came in for the injured Jaron Hall and drove this team down the field plenty of times, including that game-winning touchdown. All here for the Joshua Dobbs praise. I'm with you, Christian. Brian, why did you not like him as much? I'm new to this.
What with
Brian
Josh
don't
Dobbs?
believe, bro.
Yeah,
We just
I
seen a
get it.
couple games, and we're
I
talking
get
about
it.
a guy that's thrown how many passes in his NFL career to this point? 12, 17. He had 17 career pass attempts with the Steelers in 2 years and 68 with Tennessee last year and had 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Yeah, okay. He's had some good games, I think he's got 10 touchdowns and 5 picks this year. And, credit to him, but am I really ready to stake my flag in the ground to what I think is a limited quarterback with not a whole lot of ceiling? I'm not. I think he could be a good journeyman.
Bro.
Definitely don't think he's a franchise guy. But patch starter, a bridge starter, I think that's kind of what he is.
Disagree, bro. Like right now, Pittsburgh, bro. Imagine Pittsburgh with Joshua Dobbs instead of Kenny Pickett, bro. Chicago Bears. Granted, I know what they're doing. They're trying to get Caleb Williams and Justin Fields up out of there is what they're doing. But that's another team that easily could have traded for him. And I ain't gonna say he's winning games there. I don't think nobody is. Yeah. But Joshua Dobbs, bro, I think he's a starter, Brian. He really, better than Daniel Jones. Dude, Jimmy G, what they have out there, the Raiders, I'm taking them, bro. You taking, Zach Wilson and what we seen or Joshua Dobbs?
For me and what Brian's touching on, I think, is the sample size. We just need to see a little more, especially against better teams. He's showing flashes and coming ceiling. In. Today, yeah, the ceiling's not super high. Like Brian said, probably not a franchise guy, but he's proven he belongs as a starter somewhere. And in the right situation, like pieces around him, he could be successful.
Bro, I look at the teams he's been on. So you're saying Arizona, bro. Who's their number one? Hollywood. Think about number one across the league. All right. Now he's in the Vikings. Who's their number one right now? A rookie. So I just imagine him with I understand that, but a true number one, like all these other teams got, like actual, ready to win. To the Vikings, like we've all said, should not be doing what they're doing. And they're, kind of like what Chase is saying about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're winning. So, I just think Joshua Dobbs on an actual contender team, you can actually maybe say what he is. So he's doing this with not even a contender team and making him look like this.
I hear you, Christian. I hear you. That's a good take for the week. I like the suggestion. Something we just have to pay attention to Minnesota because he's got that job now. The way he played today, and if he can lead them to a playoff spot, you get Justin Jefferson was eligible to come back from IR today. That is a huge difference maker in the offense, obviously. And we touched on it last week in the pod. Second place in the NFC North up for grabs. Like you literally can take it if you want it. Chicago, Green Bay, they are what they are. Yeah, Green Bay, they won today, but
Green Bay's not in that talk.
Against Matthew Stafford, Los Angeles Rams, we don't know what to take of that. Joshua Dobbs keeps playing this brand of football with Justin Jefferson. Minnesota may be a sneaky NFC wildcard team. So I see what you're saying, Christian. I like the take. Brian, I'll let you get to yours. We're already at the 45-minute mark. We'll get yours and mine's NFL take and then wrap it up.
I do not have one this week. No NFL take.
That's good, man. Vikings on a 4-game win streak. Just want to throw that out there since you ain't got no take, man.
Party pooper. All right, I already knew. I kind of had an idea, but we already harped on it a little bit. The Houston Texans, guys. That's where I'm going with mine. C.J. Stroud, I think, is quickly locking up Rookie of the Year. Which of these receivers, Christian touched on it today, he got everyone involved. Which guy becomes the guy for C.J. Stroud? Is it the Nico Collins? Is it Tank Dell? Or do they spend one of these draft picks and go get, or in free agency like Jacksonville did with Christian Kirk for Trevor Lawrence? Do they go get a proven guy or a guy they think can be the guy for C.J. Stroud? Because I think he's proving it. Which Texans wide receiver in-house or in off-season next year becomes the guy linked to C.J. Stroud for years to come?
I like that question, Chase, and I just wanted to touch on a little bit about the Houston Texans roster, and that is that they have structured this thing pretty dang well where whatever pick they have, they can really just pick the best player available. They really don't have to tie themselves to drafting for need in any shape or form just because of how they built out this roster. So I love that. They got a bunch of young guys at receiver too. Nico Collins, of course, Tank Dell, and even John Mechie, who we hadn't seen a whole lot this year, but they've got a couple options that could potentially blossom into that. But, if an elite top prospect falls to him, I can definitely see that happening. Although I don't know yet. I'm going to definitely be digging into the draft class coming up next year. But as of right now, I don't know. But I do think that Nico Collins and or Tank Dell have the potential to be that guy for C.J. Stroud.
For me, I don't think they need to spend a draft pick. I think, like Brian kind of said, how they just did the team. I think they could go out and maybe spend for a true number one if that's something they would want to do, would have him a quarterback on a rookie deal, and that's what we've seen multiple teams around the league do. Either pick up one or either trade for one and get him his true number one. But if I had to pick one on the roster right now, I'm definitely going Tank Dell. So when he's been healthy, he's kind of been that. I understand Nico Collins had some big games, but we've seen today they tried to make Tank Dell to get in the running game, the passing game. So I just think that's a piece that they're trying to do something with. So I think C.J. Stroud and him has already kind of built a connection. So Tank Dell was great in college. They did hear about the undersize, and that was a big concern, but it just seemed like it hasn't been a problem in the NFL. And I just think Tank Dell's kind of just a guy I guess you could say, fell in love with on this team more than Nico Collins. So I'd just go Tank Dell, and maybe, they might go out and spend maybe big on a tight end, because I will say C.J. Stroud has shown love to the tight end room for the last 3 weeks now.
I'll say this, guys. I just looked at the NFL receiver 2024 free agents, and one stuck out immediately. Someone I think would make a huge splash in this offense. T. Higgins. Good call.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say Odell Beckham.
Oh, God. All right. Hey, man. The funny, I'm not going to get down this train, but I was such an Odell hater for a long time, and then he came to the Higgins, so I'll leave that there. We won't get down that road. T. Higgins, guys, for this offense, you think about it in Cincinnati, you got Joe Burrow locked up to big money. Jamar Chase is going to warrant that payday. I think they really want to keep him. He's better than T. Higgins. T. Higgins is great, but Jamar Chase is like a top 5 NFL receiver. You think the LSU connection, all that stuff. He gets paid to stay in Cincinnati. That could leave the door open for T. Higgins to make a lot of money elsewhere. And which team could use a number one receiver? Which team has money to spend because their rookie QB is on a friendly contract? Houston Texans, I think they make a push for T. Higgins. That could be a scary, scary offense when you have Tank Dell and company there to provide depth in the other playmaking. Just something, a question that really came up while we were recording, and I think the outlook for this Houston Texans offense is so exciting, and if the thought of adding a T. Higgins or someone like that just elevates it. So that's my take. I love you guys' call with the Tank Dell love right there because he's playing good football as well. Unless you guys have anything else, we will get out of here and watch the Sunday night game and wrap it up.
Yeah, can the Dolphins win a big game? That's all I got to finish on, man.
Well, I guess
Beat a team over 500, man. Beat a team over 500.
Hey, Christian
Hey,
had
so
a good pod.
if the Chargers make the
What, man?
playoff, did we beat a team over 500?
If we make it to the playoffs, y'all ain't gonna beat us again. That's all I'm gonna say. So you better hope we don't match up.
Oh my
Because
God!
I'm telling
This
you,
is
I feel
a
pretty
fun.
confident in what my team's doing, man.
Hey, a big one. We didn't recap the Bills and Bengals because that's going on right now, and then you got Jets and Chargers, two teams. Obviously, Christian's Chargers and the Jets, who we had a lot of excitement for preseason. That's going to be a really fun game to watch and recap when we get into our Week 10 NFL preview show, guys. Season flying by, just flying by. Great football to watch every week. Love talking to you guys as always, and to everyone listening, appreciate you guys. Keep liking, sharing, all that great stuff. Comment on the YouTube shorts and the TikTok videos we post, and help us grow as always. With that said, we'll see you on Thursday morning with the Week 10 preview. Thank you as always. Peace out.